Hi everyone, it's Miriam. This is the second experiment for this week because the last one where I made this piece has kind of haunted me, and I'm going to tell you why. In that one, I used the Pebeo Fantasy Moon and Prism paints, and I also used their Vitrail paint. And I used them because I wanted to see if the special effects these are known for would carry through when mixed in resin. Now, as I started the pour, I saw some of the effects emerge, but over the course of my working with them, the effect changed and I lost that cell-like structure that these are designed to create. Now, I don't know if that's because it can't do it in resin, which is possibly the case, or if it's because I used a torch and a heat tool in order to move the resin around a little bit, to heat the resin, make it a little warm so it would flow easier. After applying heat and a torch, this is sort of a close-up of some of the effects that I was able to get. Now, I like this, but I'm very curious about what can happen if I leave the Pebeo paints alone and I don't torch and I don't heat in any way. So that's what we're going to do today. This is going to be a very tiny pour, just a 4 by 4 inch masonite coaster. They look like this. And in keeping with the last video, I painted it blue. And the reason I did that was just in case there was a spot or two that I missed hitting with the colors, the blank space would have a color popping through. So it wouldn't just be like naked canvas. Now I've switched up my colors just a teeny bit. I'm only going to use Prism for this particular pour. I'm still going to use the Vitrail as the base, or background color, sort of border, but I'm only using the prisms. And the reason I'm doing that is I want to see if there's an effect. I want to be able to say it's the prism that's doing that. And then I'll do one maybe later with just the moon. And then one day I can combine them again and see what happens. But for now, we're just going to do prisms. As before, the resin I'll be using is Clearcast 7050. The exact prism color names are Emerald, Pearl Violine, and Eggshell White. And the Vitrail is Deep Blue. Now I'm going to go and mix some resin and mix in these colors. The thing to know about the Pebeo paints, the Prism and the Moon, is that it's really critical to mix them well. When you first get them, or if the ones you have been sitting around for a while, the mica powder, that's sort of the sparkliness and what ends up making the effect, settles. And if it's not well mixed within the solvent, it won't be able to do its thing. So these are clearly not mixed, and a decently mixed bottle should look homogeneous like that. Alrighty, everything is mixed. The little coaster is level it is time to start pouring. So I mixed more than I know I needed so that I would not have to worry about any flow issues or running out of anything. So that's the Vitrail. That's sort of like the base color. This. In it. See what happens there. I think I'm also going to put some clear in some areas just to see what happens. I am fighting the urge to tilt this. I'm not going to. I'm not going to do anything but pour. I like when you put the clear, it's interesting, it pushes away the others, which is kind of cool. Kind of gives it an interesting effect. See that? How it pushed that aside. Kind of reminds me of what alcohol ink does. Yeah, this sinks through. Do you see how this almost reminds me of an eye there? Alrighty, that's all of that. Let's see. Alright. I'm going to have some purple left over because that's just much too much. So I'm going to pour I guess I'll use a little more purple. I can't believe that after all that, it's still sitting on top. I mean, this is a lot of resin, and it just won't run over the edge. It falls down in little driplets, but not evenly, which I would have thought it would at this volume, but nope. So I'm just going to put some along the edge, and then I am not going to touch this. No torch, no heat gun. And we'll see what happens. Now these guys, this paint, these Pebeos, when left to their own devices, I mean, not when they're mixed with resin maybe, but they supposedly change over time as they dry or cure. I don't know if they cure or dry, I'm not sure, but they continue to change. So I am very curious as to whether or not they will do that in this particular case. But I guess we will see. I can't see the other side and I don't want to turn it. Huh. I don't know if you can see that, but it's almost like a film that I can drag off. Can you see that? Like I can almost just pull the mica off. So the mica seems to rise to the top or doesn't sink like the rest of the resin does. Or in the color. So, and I saw that in the other one, and I assumed that that was a product of the torch. But no, it's happening here too. All right, that's it. I am not touching this. And we will come back and look at this in a little bit. Well, a few minutes later, the only thing that's really happened is that the mica seems to have come up and sort of taken over the top layer. Sort of, it's almost like a sort of, I don't know, a skin of mica laying on top of the entire piece. So I don't really consider this much of a success, but this little piece will end up being used for something. I don't know what, but this will not go to waste. After 12 hours, we were left with a nearly intact, fine particle mica blanket or skin covering the entire piece. It's a pretty pearl-like effect, but better suited for a background, I think, not so much for a finished piece. I mean, unless your goal is a coaster or something like that. But if it's something you want to hang on a wall, probably not. I'm now left wondering if what caused this was too much resin on the piece. When you use the Pebeo paints alone, more is better because the more of it there is, the stronger the effect. But in a resin mixture, that may not be the case. So I'm going to do a second part to this test and use less and see what happens. So check back for a part 2 video either later today or tomorrow. In the meantime, I hope this helped you too. If you think it did, or you were just entertained, I would love a thumbs up, and I definitely encourage you to subscribe. I have a lot of ideas for using varying materials to enhance resin paintings in ways that I really haven't seen done yet. So outside of these tests, I'm going to do tutorials. I'm going to post tutorials for stuff like that, and I don't want you to miss out. So until next time, be creative, watch part 2, and subscribe. See ya.